Hello and thank you for watching. Here is a video tutorial of how to choose your guitar. If you have if you're gonna pick up a guitar for life, you know, and there are some of more than one that you like, you could follow these parameters to help your decision come to a conclusion. This particular type of guitar, which has a box, a cutout, and usually has a percussion plate here, you know, like a protector that I've removed. Here are the screw holes there. Can you see them? Where it was some bracket that holds the plate, you know. But anyway, what to look at when you going to choose your guitar. So always look at a guitar down onto the box through the neck like this, and make sure that is aligned. You have a good look at that, and you make sure that this is parallel to the mounting on the box, so that the neck isn't warped. And now that would be an easy thing to find if you play it and you have any fretting that shouldn't be there. Now you can find the entire neck being straight, and yet the mounting onto the body isn't square. So check it out this way, check it out that way also, and try to find any offsets. Okay, cut out here. Look at what happens when we go like this. You can see it already. You can see it's about to go off. You see, it's not. You see that angle there? It's not. It's one line is like this, and the line in front is something like that. So that is not good. Something happened there. Okay, more about that in a minute. It had been used by a good old friend of mine that happened to be old also, so he had an energy to it that I resonated with, that was a sentimental value. But as far as the craftsmanship is concerned, it had that floor here, also the peg here where you it's not in the center. So it looks like a guitar that it was put together by some student of the brand. You know, it's a very, very good American brand. You all know it. So yeah. Also very important, this is crucial, but for me anyway, check out the mounting of the machine heads here. They should be something like, so I'm looking at the screen, in this case they're not, you know, they don't match, because it has a curvature in the setup. Okay, so there won't be a straight line parallel to it, but there are some that should be a straight line, and you will see that, you will notice, because when you put a bar on it, like a pen for example, you would meet all lines together and on the other side. So just check that they are symmetrical if they're supposed to be. You know, if they have a bit of a play or an angle, make sure that that's how they should be. You know, likely, but possibly you can find some off angles here, and that's, to me. So remember, this cutout is a very delicate piece of work, because the wood being so thin, and it could, you know, it could play about. So this one has this angle, comes down like this, so they had some struggle with it. It doesn't need to be like that, you know. But again, I chose it for the reasons mentioned before. And then that's about it, really. If you feeling brave and you have the confidence in the shop or with the shop, you can ask to remove this plate here and take a visual check, and hopefully with an Allen key fit it in there and make sure that it's clean, that all angles are in good order, in good working order. Because especially if you buy a second-hand guitar, if it has been well, you could find terrible accidents that cannot, well, are very difficult to correct in terms of that piece inside here. Another thing that I looked at, this is more of a standard for each brand mostly, or depending on what model or what grade you're buying of a guitar. But something I like to choose is that excuse me, the threads are wide. You know, there are two kinds of threads. There are thin threads, which are a bit like a sitar kind of fret, like for a mandolin or something like that, you know. And there are other kinds of frets that, well, these are almost as wide as I like them to be. And by that I mean the actual thickness from side to side of the thread. That can vary. That can be a thin, you know, so thin of a thread, or you can get something like a 1.5 or 1.25 thread width, you know. And for me, the wider the better, because the less stepping I feel when I slide along when I'm playing. Yeah, those are about it. Check out that the work matches on these decos here, that there isn't any miskniving or any kind. Any vibrations of pickups or the board that normally comes here as well, try to avoid that, any vibrations here, because if a salesman is really desperate to sell you the guitar, he will sell it to you by selling it to you, but it will tell you things like that can be corrected. Never trust that. It can be a real nightmare for a skilled luthier to find a resonance and to correct it. As logical as it may sound, like, oh yeah, that's the spring in the humbucker, that's just, don't worry about it. Sure, but it's always said about 1,000,000 times easier than it is corrected. And if we go along to some kind of mechanical thing here that might be, it involves a great deal of care from a skilled luthier to find and to correct. So avoid that as much as possible. Am I missing anything? Oh yeah, here in the cuts, in the F cuts, sometimes, like in this guitar again, I'm gonna just grab the camera here and give you a good zoom in. Inside, you know, inside here, there's a misfinish. You've got kind of a flare of material that wasn't, you know, there's no need for that. You know, they should be finished up. So again, just vibrations and that sort of thing are very important. I think that covers it up. Oh yeah, there is another technique I learned sometime in South when I was some friend showed me that you can tap the board along and look, or not look, but listen for any for any death tones. So it has to have some kind of regular kind of body to it, and it feels that the sound, the tapping is transmitted across. You look for that in the front as well. It's more difficult because you have all these fittings, but you don't get any talk, don't talk. All of a sudden it's like, whoa, what's going on? And you can't see that because of the varnish is covering some unlikely things. But when you go to a shop that has over 100 guitars and you like 5 of them, and you don't know how to make your decision in terms of liking them, then you focus your eye into those aspects, and you might find a guitar that really sort of, when you look at it that way, it brings you that little extra grip into what decision you're going to make. But ultimately, the best advice is do what I did. I didn't care about certain things or feeling to it. So you might find that the first guitar you pick up, you hate or you love, and that should be your prerogative or your first choice always, But yeah, I mean, that's about it. So good luck with your choice, and let's go back and play until our fingers bleed.